We are going to start with the cat pose for 1 minute. For the modification, do the eagle pose instead of the cat pose so you're able to stretch your arms. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. This pose also helps stretch the back, torso, and the neck and provides a gentle massage to the spine and belly organs. The cat pose increases flexibility of the neck, shoulders, and spine, so it can benefit gymnasts, dancers, or any other person involved in a sport that is strenuous on your upper body. Some barriers are people with back issues and neck problems. Next, we will be doing the wide-angled seated forward pose for 1 minute. For this modification, take a thickly rolled blanket and lay it on the floor in front of you, perpendicular to your pelvis. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. This pose stretches the insides and backs of the legs and stimulates the abdominal organs and strengthens the spine and calms the brain and releases groins. This can benefit somebody who has arthritis because it's known to help relieve arthritis. It can also relax and calm the brain, so it could be beneficial towards people with anxiety. Some barriers are people with hip or knee problems. Next, we will be doing the reclining bound angled pose for 1.5 minutes. For this modification, take a block or folded blanket under your legs where the pain is to support your legs. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. This pose stimulates abdominal organs like the ovaries and prostate gland, bladder, and kidneys, and stimulates the heart and improves general circulation and stretches the inner thighs, groins, and knees and helps relieve stress, mild depression, Next, we will be doing the intense side stretch pose for 1 minute on each side. For this modification, grab onto something to balance. As you can see, some of us are struggling to get into the pose. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. This pose calms the brain and stretches the spine, shoulders and wrists, hips and hamstrings, and strengthens the legs and stimulates the abdominal organs and improves posture, sense of balance, and improves digestion. You are now going to switch into the next side for 1 more minute. Next, we will be doing the Warrior One pose for 1 minute. If your heel is lifting, place a folded blanket under your foot. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses strength and isotonic excentric energy. This pose stretches the chest, lungs, and shoulders, and it strengthens the shoulders and arms and the muscles of the back, and strengthens and stretches the thighs, calves, and ankles. This pose helps to improve focus and energize the body, which can benefit a competitive athlete before a meet or tournament, and even a student before a test. Next, we will be doing the tree pose for 1 minute on each leg. For this modification, use the wall to balance instead of balancing on your own. The energy system used is anaerobic. The tree pose uses endurance and static energy, and it stretches the thighs, groins, torso, and shoulders. It builds strength in the ankles and calves and tones the abdominal muscles. People with sciatica will benefit from this pose since it's known to be therapeutic. Now you're going to switch to your next leg. Now we are going to do the bridge pose for 30 seconds. For this modification, slide a block under the pelvis for support. The energy system used is anaerobic. The bridge pose uses endurance and strength and isotonic concentric energy. This pose stretches the chest, neck, and spine and calms the brain, helps alleviate stress and mild depression, and stimulates abdominal organs, lungs, and thyroid. It rejuvenates tired legs and improves digestion. This pose is known to alleviate stress and mild depression. Now we are going to do the locust pose for 30 seconds. For this modification, use a rolled blanket to help maintain the lift. The energy system used is anaerobic. The locust pose uses endurance and strength and uses the isotonic eccentric energy system. This pose helps strengthen the muscles of the spine, buttocks, and back of the arms and legs. This pose works with the upper back muscles. Now we are going to be doing the seated forward bend for 30 seconds. Use a folded blanket under your knees to stay and support. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and endurance and is static energy. This pose calms the brain and helps relieve stress and mild depression. It stretches the spine, shoulders, hamstrings. It stimulates the liver, kidneys, ovaries, and uterus, improves digestion, and helps relieve symptoms of menopause and discomfort. Next, we are going to be doing the legs up the wall pose for 1 minute. Use a folded blanket under so you're able to support your back. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses endurance and static energy. This pose relieves tired or cramped legs and feet, gently stretches the back legs, front torso, and the back of the neck. This pose helps with circulation so people with bad circulation can benefit. Next, we are going to be doing the dolphin pose for 30 seconds. Place a folded blanket under your hands to support your hands and elbows. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and endurance, and it also uses static energy. It calms the brain and helps release stress and mild depression, stretches the shoulders, hamstring, calves, and arches, strengthens the arms and legs, and helps relieve the symptoms of menopause. This pose is therapeutic for people with high blood pressure, asthma, flat feet, and sciatica. Next, we are going to be doing the half Lord of the Fishes pose for 30 seconds. For the modification, push yourself away from the wall and use it as support. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. This pose stimulates the liver and kidneys, stretches the shoulders, hips, and neck. It energizes the spine and stimulates the digestive fire in the belly. This pose can benefit athletes such as dancers because it strengthens abs and opens shoulders, neck, and hips. Next, we are going to be doing the camel pose for 30 seconds. For this modification, hold on to something to support your neck and back. The energy system used is anaerobic. The camel pose uses range of motion and static energy. It stretches the entire front of the body, the ankles, thighs, and groins, abdomen, chest, and throat, and stretches the deep hip. This pose is good for people who have pain or tension in their back or spine because it strengthens the back muscles and it helps improve posture. Next, we are going to be doing the upward facing dog pose for 1 minute. For this modification, place a thickly rolled blanket below your thighs to support yourself. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. This pose improves posture, straightens the spine, arms, wrists, stretches the chest and legs, shoulders, and abdomen. This pose will be good for athletes such as gymnasts because it strengthens the spine and wrists. Next, we're going to be doing the knee to head forward bend for 1 minute on each leg. For this modification, don't lean to touch your toes, but lean forward to touch your thigh so there's not much pressure. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. It stimulates the liver and kidneys. It stretches the shoulders, hips, and neck and energizes the spine. The knee to head pose is good for people who have insomnia, headaches, and mild depression because it is calming and relaxing. Next, we are going to be doing the Warrior 3 pose for 30 seconds. For this modification, use something to hold on to balance. The energy system used is anaerobic. The Warrior 3 pose uses strength and endurance, static and isotonic exergenic energy. It strengthens the ankles and legs, strengthens the shoulders, muscles, and back, tones the abdomen, and improves balance. This pose can help people who have balance or posture issues because it improves full body coordination and tones and strengthens the abdomen muscles. Next, we are going to do the Marchese pose for 1 minute on each side. Use something to support your back, and once you've twisted, push against the wall. The energy system used is anaerobic. The Marchese pose uses range of motion and static energy. It massages abdominal organs, including the liver and kidney, stretches the shoulders, and stimulates the brain. This pose can benefit people who have back or hip problems because it can help relieve backaches and strengthens the spine. Next, we will be doing the upward bow pose for 15 seconds. For this modification, stay in a crab-like position. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and strength and static energy. It strengthens the chest and lungs, strengthens the arms and wrists, legs, buttocks, abdomen, and spine. It stimulates the thyroid and increases energy. It'll help people who may have depression. Next, we will be doing the big toe pose for 30 seconds. For this modification, sit in a chair to release stress from your legs. The energy system used is anaerobic. This pose uses range of motion and static energy. It calms the brain and helps release stress, anxiety, and stimulates the liver, kidneys, stretches the hamstrings and calves, and strengthens the thighs. This pose is good for people who have a lot of tension in parts of their body, such as their legs. Next, we will be doing the cobra pose for 1 minute. For this modification, place a folded blanket under your thighs to support your back. The energy system used is anaerobic. The cobra pose uses endurance and static energy. It strengthens the spine, stretches the chest and lungs, shoulders, and abdomen. It firms the buttocks, stimulates abdominal organs, and helps relieve stress. This pose helps people to gain flexibility and strengthen arms and shoulders. So it would be good for people who dance or do gym.